Councilmember Will Jawando was well known as a social justice warrior during his 2 terms in the Montgomery County Council and is credited with authoring many laws designed to address social justice issues, and he's been quite successful at it. This week, he introduced the Freedom to Leave Act, which effectively prohibits law enforcement from asking a motorist who's been stopped whether they would consent to a search of their vehicle, a routine procedure employed by police. Maricé, the Fourth Amendment of the Constitution prohibits unlawful searches and seizures, and in criminal law practice, there is generally a motion filed by defense challenging whether any such search was voluntary or coerced or constitutional. So is this bill necessary?
I love this question, Casey. First, we understand that us, educated folks, maybe lawyers, we understand our Fourth Amendment rights. However, when in practice, even me as a defense attorney, when I feel a police officer behind me, I already start getting nervous. Why? Because it brings me back to my child years when I was in the car with my father, and my father would hold on to the wheel and be extra careful on the road because he knew that he would get profiled. Now, what this means is, I don't know that the bill is necessary. Honestly, I don't know that we can do it in the county without going to the state first, but I understand the issue here. And that is, while we understand that the Fourth Amendment has these protections, when it comes down to, real life scenarios, how many people will actually feel safe in their skin to say, no, officer, you can't check my vehicle. And so I understand that. I think it sheds light into getting communities to understand their rights, et cetera. But I think it's a false choice to say, you're either pro law enforcement or against it. Listen, I'm all about law enforcement, and I love the officers that I get to work with in the courthouse. I have a lot of respect for them, but at the same time, I know that there are issues that we need to address in terms of the contact between police and communities.
Well, I get that, but my experience has been, and I wasn't a prosecutor for more than 6 months. I did a stint in the U.S. Attorney's Office in D.C.
Okay.
My experience was that the criminals were well aware of what they could do and what they couldn't do. But Laurie, I realize you're not an attorney, and so perhaps this question about constitutionality really doesn't focus for you. But as a citizen, as crime continues to rise, is this the right approach and message that we're sending in our community?
Well, first of all, I want to say that I didn't know this rule either about that you can say no, or if they can ask you that question. So I learned something from this today. But you know what? I think that if they ask, and now that I know I can say no, I would probably say no, just because who knows what I might have in my car. I know I don't have a gun, but I would just say no. Just because
my point exactly.
This is a true confession.
You might find an old chicken sandwich from Chick-fil-A or something down there. Who knows? But I do feel that Will Jawando just is always focusing on issues that divide us, and he's always talking about disparities. I loved that when he was inaugurated, he wore a Nigerian outfit. I was really thinking that is cool. I love that he was pointing out how it's important to recognize our differences. But I think now it's time for him to realize he's an at-large member and of the county council, and he needs to look at other things and remember that he's representing everyone. And look at things that help everyone, not hurt police, not hurt, the police need to do their job. And I feel like this helps them. They claim that this rule helps them do their job.
I'll tell you, the one statistic that he released was, which kind of, I think, undercuts his argument, was that there was less than 0.5% of cars that were searched that had contraband in it, which you typically would sound that, such searches are rather benign.